Some new rules could make it harder for the nation's 20 million military veterans to get the benefits they earn.
That is the opinion of elder law experts regarding changes coming next week from the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Mike Gooding has details on a meeting to offer assistance.
That is right, Dave and Regina. It is this coming Wednesday, 2 days from today. The Hook Law Firm wants to arm vets with the information and knowledge they need.
We owe a duty to the veterans to try to get the word out.
In recent days, the Department of Veterans Affairs has published new rules that it says enhance a vet's capability to qualify for long-term care benefits. But elder law experts say the changes make things more difficult. The VA pension program provides monthly payments to certain wartime veterans with financial need and their survivors. To qualify, generally a veteran must have at least 90 days of active duty service with at least 1 day during a wartime period. Possibly at risk, a tax-free $2,170 per month aid and attendance benefit that assists vets that have a disability that is not service-connected. The benefit can help defray care costs so veterans can get the care they need at home or in assisted living. The new regulations that go into effect October 18th set a net worth limit of $123,600. That number will include both the applicant's assets and income. Additionally, under the new rules, any gifts made in the past 36 months either to a family member or to an irrevocable trust would be penalized. Hook Law Center will host a free seminar Wednesday to explain what these pension law changes mean to veterans, spouses, and their families.
It's a significant rewrite. Continuing to do the planning that you would have recommended even 30 days ago would cause significant hardships and problems for them.